I wanna be tried.
Yeah.
By
I know that
fire.
song.
If I you desire, Lord, here's my life. Yeah, that's
We need Dylan up in here because we can't be singing up in here.
no. Yeah, you don't want to put us on the mic.
We not doing it.
It's not good. It
It's
wasn't
not
great.
good stuff. It's not good stuff. It's better when we have like the music and then we're just drowned out.
Yeah.
And we just hold our note. Like,
Yeah.
we just hold our note.
Yeah, I can whisper too.
Yeah.
Yo, welcome back to the Vibes Daily Podcast. It is day 235 of our year-long series we have titled Devoted, where we are journeying through the entire Bible from cover to cover, from Genesis to Revelation. But you have joined us today in the book of Jeremiah, and we are so glad that you are with us. I am here with my wife, Victoria, as we continue through the book of Jeremiah and pick up here on chapter 31. We have been kind of in the meat of this book this week. And pick up here in 31 really after a book that was somewhat encouraging, that was a chapter I should say that was somewhat encouraging, that really kind of spoke of this return that Judah would have, and kind of continues that theme here in 31 as Jeremiah starts to talk about God's relationship with his people, and some of those things that the joy they'll experience, some of the things he'll restore for them as well, and how they'll be brought home, and everyone will be brought home. Was there anything that just jumped out to you early here in 31 that you thought was interesting?
Yeah, I would say verse 4. Now, we've talked a lot about Israel.
Okay.
And the Lord has had a lot of different descriptors.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them that we have seen throughout Jeremiah has been that they are like prostituting themselves, right?
Oh, yes.
Or like, dirty imagery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here it calls the virgin Israel. And
Yes.
I had to pause and I said, wait, who? Like virgin? When did Israel become a virgin again? Yeah. And so that was very interesting to me because in some of these previous days, we've talked about how the Lord said he was going to like heal Israel and restore Israel and make Israel whole and redeem her and marry her again and wash her clean. And now just to see that he's even referencing Israel as like virgin Israel again, it really jumped out to me.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's just kind of a reference to the fact that this is a new Israel,
yes,
right?
New Israel.
That will be coming back from Babylon, well, Persia, I guess, eventually, but
Right.
like from this land, and it'll be restored. And so this is kind of this reference to like clean slate, starting over. I do think that's interesting. Kind of, it's like, yeah, you got another chance to start all over, and choose me again, which is interesting.
Be my virgin bride all over again.
Yeah, that's great. That actually is good. It's a beautiful imagery of just rebirth and renewed chance. I think verse 8 jumped out to me specifically. It says, "Watch, I am going to bring them from the northern land. I will gather them from remote regions of the earth. The blind and the lame will be with them, along with those who are pregnant and about to give birth. They will return here as a great assembly." And I think what stuck out to me is, we know that like when it came to like journeys to Jerusalem for different festivals and Passover things, like these are the kind of people that actually got left behind. Like,
exactly.
they would stay home and they wouldn't make those journeys. And so it really was this reference to just this inclusiveness that everyone is coming home. Like everyone gets to come back. Everyone gets to make this journey, because even the blind, the lame, and those who are pregnant who are about to give birth, even they will come in return. And so I just loved how inclusive that verse was, to just kind of show we're not leaving anybody behind. everyone gets to be a part of this restoration, this rejoicing as they come home.
Yeah. Yeah. And even just to continue to verse 9, it says like, they will not stumble, for I am Israel's father, and Ephraim is my firstborn. And it's interesting because, of course, we know that Ephraim was not the firstborn of Jacob, right?
Of Israel.
He was Joseph's son, right?
Technically his second son.
His second son, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I think here I was trying to figure out, like, it's just some of my commentaries is referencing Ephraim as being like just of importance here, and like because over time we have seen the Lord call different people firstborn, right? Like David at one point was called his firstborn, and Jesus at some point is called his firstborn, and so we see this like this title given as like the Lord like exalting them. Why he's exalting Ephraim, and maybe it represents like the 10 tribes of Israel or something, but like why he is doing that, I'm not quite sure. That kind of left me stumped.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think we know, or if we recall, Israel kind of took Ephraim for himself, right? Jacob did, I should say, like just before he died,
Right.
Because he was technically one of Joseph's sons, but like you said, took him to essentially replace Joseph in his 12 tribes, a sense. But yeah, why he elevates, Ephraim to this place again, I think is a good question. But yeah, that is a good call out. Was there anything else kind of in this first half? I had some kind of later.
No, you can go towards like 15 and down.
Actually, a little further than that, kind of to 21. But yeah, do you have something there in the middle of like that 15?
Well, 15 is where I was headed to next. Was this Rachel weeps, right? Weeping for her children. I thought that was interesting also because he's mentioning Rachel here, which in my opinion, I thought we would probably reference Leah, right? Because Leah had delivered Judah, and Judah is normally exalted, and Judah is the bigger tribe, right? And the one who has been, holding it down in terms of loyalty and faithfulness to the Lord more so. And so instead of saying Rachel is grieving here, it says, instead of saying Leah, it's saying Rachel here. And so, yeah, I think that was interesting too. Just these call outs.
Well, it would somewhat align with the idea of Ephraim, right? Because Rachel would be Ephraim's grandmother.
Exactly.
Right? Because Joseph was as Rachel's son. So you said there is maybe some favoritism kind of directed or just elevation of, like you said, Ephraim and Joseph and essentially Rachel. I think it's interesting. So
yeah, but all in all, I am glad that he is like comforting her and like, don't worry, your children will come back.
Yeah,
like, which is it's really kind and sweet.
Yeah, good. Well, I loved. This was just an idea. Like 21 kind of starts this conversation about repentance, but the imagery here where it says set up road markers for yourself, establish signposts, keep the highway in mind, the way you have traveled, return, Virgin Israel, return to the cities of yours. To me, it was kind of like this image of like, hey, as you're going the wrong way, like keep like in mind the markers you pass, right? Those things, the not even just like the road markers, but again, just like landmarks, things that you kind of notice on the way. And I think it's just interesting. He kind of like encourages them to remember those things, because he's like, at some point you're gonna have to come back, and I want you to find your way back to me.
Ooh, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I think like it's one of those things that in life, just particularly, I can even speak to my own testimony, like when it was time to come back, I knew the way back because of the things that I picked up along the way. That makes sense, right? Like the things that, whether it was the Sunday school classes I went to as a kid or the sermons I heard along the way, right? Or whatever the case may be. Like when it was time for me to repent, like I knew the way back. I could trace that road back simply based off of the things I picked up along the way. And so I don't know, I just loved that imagery that he just kind of encouraged them, like, yeah, keep up with those landmarks, those road markers, those things as you drift, because at some point, like, I want you to return.
Yeah.
And I want you to know your way back to me. So I don't know. I just thought it was a beautiful picture there.
I do. I love that. And it's so funny because you keep on doing one verse and I keep on going to the verse right below it.
Yeah.
Because I see highlighted the verse right below it, 22. Because it stuck out to me when he was like, how long will you turn here and there, faithless daughter? Mm-hmm. So it was like, you're on this journey and like set up road marks for yourself. Yeah. Like, but why are you wavering? Like, why are you turning? Like, stick to the path that I told you to go on. Like, why are we turning here or there? Because Lord creates something new in the land. And so it's like, just stay the course and you're not going to recognize it. Like, you might not recognize it, right, as you're going, because he's leading you to a new place. And so I think that was awesome to see too. Just stuck out.
Yeah, good. Well, anything else kind of here in 31? We kind of keep moving. He talks about a new covenant that's coming, starting in verse 31. Mm-hmm. That I just think interesting. Verse 34 sticks out to me some. Just no longer will one teach his neighbor or his brother, saying, know the Lord, for they will all know me, from the least to the greatest of them. This is the Lord's declaration. For I will forgive their iniquity and never again remember their sin. Like, just in the context of this, right? Like, he talks about this new covenant that will not be like any other covenant he's ever made before.
Yeah.
And I love this because it reminds me of like when Jesus in, John, somewhere in that 14 to 17 range, when he's in the, upper room with his disciples, and he says like, I give you a new command.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
love your brother as I have loved you, essentially. Mm-hmm. It just reminds me of that just kind of like, here's this new covenant. And when I make this covenant, like, it won't be about, teaching your each other to know one another, to know me, but it's like everyone will know me, from the least to the greatest. And that I will forgive their iniquity and never again remember their sin. Like, there will be this forgiveness that extends forever. And so, I don't know. I just loved that. To me, this prophecy seemed beyond just kind of that present, and it was something that refers to Jesus and whatnot. But for me, I'm grateful to live in that covenant.
Absolutely.
Personally.
Come on, somebody. Yeah.
Personally, I am grateful to be in that covenant specifically.
That one, because this one's a lot easier in my opinion than some of the other covenants.
Yeah, this was really good.
Yeah, and I love that. Yeah, you went to the verse below the time, and I went to the verse before.
Okay,
so
you just gonna.
So I'm in 33.
Backing off.
Yeah, we just see you're talking. Okay.
All right.
But in verse 33, I love how he says, "I will put my teaching within them and write it on their hearts. I will be their God and they'll be my people." I know you like that verse every time he claims them as his own people, right?
Yeah.
But just this whole idea of just like, I will put my teaching within them and write it on their hearts. Like, it was like, okay, no more with this rote repetition of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, no more of this law for the sake of law and for the sake of you just uplifting yourself, right? And it came more to like, I want my teachings to be in their heart, like not just in their heads, but like within them, in their hearts, right? Because he wanted them to love him and to it to be near and dear to them, and like they actually, I don't know, have some type of emotional feeling and connection to what they're doing.
Yeah. That's that imagery. That's one that we cover in Proverbs. It's another one I think that it comes up in Psalms as well. That imagery of just like writing God's word on our heart, right? Kind of etching it there, and there's a element of just like permanence in that too, right? So particularly when you think about like in that day and time. It's not like they got pencils with erasers,
Right.
You know? Like,
Right.
So when they wrote something, it was ink.
It was ink, and that was
there.
that.
Yeah, and it reminds me.
Parchment was not easy to come by.
That's right. Like, and it's interesting because Naomi, just recently asked me about the tattoo on my back.
Oh
Right.
I overheard that a little bit.
Yeah.
While doing dishes, I was like, ooh,
Yeah, she was kind of. She was asking me about it, and I had to tell Swift Grace what it means. I have Jehovah Nisi written on my back, and which I won't get into the story of kind of why I got it, but it references Exodus 17, and that's where that name comes from. But I told her that, like, the name at that time in my life was kind of significant. It was something that meant something to me, which is why I got the tattoo. But we got into this whole thing of like, there's all these other ways I could have remembered, right? I did not have to get a tattoo. I did not have to literally put ink on my back, to remember. I could have done all sorts of things to commemorate what that word and that meant. I could have just written it on my heart.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I think I even heard her say, like, you could have, like, written down a piece of paper and put it on the wall or something like that.
Absolutely. She had all the ideas of what I could have done instead of getting a tattoo. And she's right. But I think that permanence, right, is that same idea of just writing his word in our heart, right? Like the same way that I can't do anything about this tattoo. It's here. It's there. It's not going anywhere.
And that's not even one that you could, like, remove. Like, that thing is there.
Yeah, it's pretty large. So, but I just say that to say, like, I think that's the imagery I get when I see his word, or his word is written on the heart. I get the imagery of almost like tattooed, like it's there and it's kind of permanent in that regard. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll keep going to 32. 32 is kind of a very interesting chapter. It's kind of long, but a little bit more, I don't say narrative, but it's kind of telling a little bit of a story here as Jeremiah talks about kind of this land he's purchasing, and Zedekiah is, essentially just trying to confirm again, like, are you sure? You keep telling me you guys go come and capture us, but and just he kind of confirm some things here. But taking this chapter as a whole, it's not really broken up into many sections or anything. What's jumped out to you in chapter 32?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it did jump out to me that, like, that he was imprisoned, right? Like, at this time, Jeremiah, I double check, he's in prison, right? Yeah, that he's in prison right now. Zedekiah is, like, the last king, correct?
Yep.
And so, like, this would be, once they get captured, this would be, like, the last remnant. And so, it did stick out to me that, number one, that, like, he's in this courtyard, and the Lord's still speaking to him, right? And that, like, Zedekiah has the audacity to still come and ask him stuff while you got me locked up. But anyways, but like he's locked up for telling him this very thing. He's locked up for saying that you're going to be going into exile, and that the Lord that you'll be getting captured and all of this. But I think it was interesting to me that the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah while he is in prison, and this is years into his ministry at this point, right? And that the Lord came to him and said, look, hey, your uncle, the son of your uncle, right, your cousin is gonna come and ask you to buy this field, right? And then he's just like, yeah, and then it happened, and then I knew it was the Lord. Right, like, so I knew. So, like, this is verse 8. It's a little ways down in verse 8, though. It says, then I knew that this was the word of the Lord. And so, to me, it was interesting to see Jeremiah this far in his ministry, but yet still looking for confirmations of what the Lord told him. I mean, we know that the Lord has taught him, like, yes, when you hear my voice or when you see this vision, what do you see? And he's confirmed, like, yes, you got the gift. That's what it looks like. This is how it will come to you. But yet, so far in his ministry, he hears a word from the Lord. And when the Lord does it, there's still something in him that says, okay, yeah, that was definitely the Lord. Instead of this boastful confidence all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like I don't know. Sometimes I get down on myself if I'm like, okay, I'm not sure how the Lord is speaking right now. Like, I'm not sure. Like, let me wait this out. Like I said, let me lay down the fleece, like Gideon, or let me do something to see if this is actually the Lord. And this gives me comfort in knowing that, like, we know without a shadow of a doubt that the Lord that has spoken to Jeremiah many times at this point.
Yeah.
But yet he is still having this moment of like, okay, yeah, that definitely was the Lord.
Yeah. I mean, because I think what Jeremiah is so challenged by, right, is what God tells him to do is buy this land in a place that Jeremiah is clear is going to be conquered.
Right.
Right. So, like, he's like, why am I buying this land when we're going to get exiled to Babylon? Like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. But God is trying to use this as a sign to say, like, I am going to bring the people back to this land.
And they'll be trading land just like this in the future. Yeah.
So, like, you'll have something to come back to, but it's also just, again, just a sign to show, like, this is what will be restored and what will happen at one point. But, like, I don't know. Like, I love that, like, even before kind of confirming what the whole purpose of it was, the verse that really just stuck out to me was verse 27, which is just like, look, I am the Lord, the God over every creature. Is anything too difficult for me?
Right.
Like, his response to him was like, okay, while you're questioning me, because back in 25, it's like, yet you, Lord, have said to me, purchase the land and purchase the field and call in witnesses, even though the city has been handed over to the Chaldeans. Like, he's like, okay, you told me to do this, even though this land is going to be handed over to them. And God's first response is, don't question me. Like, is anything too hard for me?
Yes.
Like, even if that is the instructions, I own it all. Like, and so if I told you to do it, there's nothing too hard. I have some impossible way I could have made this work in your favor, right? Type of thing.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. But I just felt like it was just this quick check of like, don't forget, I'm God and nothing's too hard for me. But here's the purpose of this, right? And let me show you how this is also a symbol of what I'm going to do. But yeah, I love that. I love that. Just we saw that with Isaiah. You know, he did it with. I'm trying to think of some of his. I know he had to be naked for like 3 years or so.
Yes. Seems horrible.
Yeah, Jeremiah had to wear the yoke, right? Like, he does these illustrations. And Tonya was the one who brought up, I think this was Tonya who brought it up the first week we did Isaiah, that she just was like, I love that God is like, even if you're a visual learner, I got a message for you.
I got
like,
you.
If you auditory, I'm gonna tell you what I gotta say. If you visual, I'm gonna give you some examples here. Like, I'm gonna reach all of you to make sure that you guys understand.
That was so good. That was so good.
Yeah. Anything else in 32 though that stuck out to you?
Yeah, I think verse 31 stuck out to me because I always kind of perk up when the Lord says that, like, he's going to remove his presence from anything. And so here it's like, for this city has caused my wrath and fury from the day it was built until now. I will therefore remove it from my presence because of all the evil the Israelites and Judeans have done to anger me. They, their kings, their officials, their priests, their prophets, the men of Judah, and the residents of Jerusalem, because they have turned their backs to me and have not at me and not their faces. And so, yeah, I think it was anytime we're just anything's getting removed from the Lord's presence, right? It's just, you know, the Lord is done and tired.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Well, our last chapter today is chapter 33. And your boy is still in prison.
Still locked up. He's still locked up here.
Still confined to the courtyard here, right? And the Lord is still speaking to him, right? And yeah, again, we kind of get more reminders of just kind of how he will restore the people eventually. Like, I just love verse 6, which is just like, yet I will certainly bring health and healing to it and will indeed heal them. And I love this part of it. I will let them experience the abundance of true peace. Yeah, like,
yeah, that was a good part.
Just true peace. you know, and it said you referenced kind of the healing and stuff from them, but that true peace, which, you know, that's one of the things I think matters so much to me. You already know Philippians 4 is one of my favorite, if not my favorite chapter in all of the Bible, that just peace that surpasses all understanding. But yeah, that like, it's not so much that peace means there's no war, because we already know that won't happen. Right. Look at what it looked like when Jesus lived. Look at what Israel looks like today. Right. Like, there's always adversaries.
Yeah.
I think peace is just that security, and it's a posture and a mindset and a condition that is despite what may be happening around us, right? So that stuck out to me. But what about you? Anything in 33?
Yeah, I think it's verse 8. I'll purify them from all the iniquity they have committed against me. It's the word purify. It really stuck out to me here. I immediately thought about Elevation Worship, the song Elevation Rhythm, actually.
Got you, yeah.
That was their song Purify. So that was in my head for the rest of the chapter, honestly.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
I was reading.
I had that is, I can't think of the name of the song right now, but Want to Be Tried by Fire, Purify.
Oh yeah. With
that's Maverick
Travis,
City.
Yeah, Travis Green and
oh, it's Maverick City.
Yeah, it's Maverick City. Oh Lord.
Yeah, Refiner.
Refiner.
That's the name of that song.
Yes, but wait.
I wanna be tried.
Yeah. I know that song.
You desire. Lord is my life. Yeah, that's.
We need Dylan up in here because we can't be singing up in here.
No, yeah, you don't want to put us on the mic.
Oh, we're not doing it.
It's not good.
It's not good stuff. It's not good stuff. It's better when we have like the music and then we're just drowned out.
Yeah.
And we just hold our note. Like, you know, we just hold our note.
Yeah, I can whisper too. Yeah, mouth it. Real good lip sync. Now I am fire lip sync.
No, you did win that lip syncing competition.
I just want you to be clear.
Your wins.
I am a lip sync champion.
Yeah, you are. You are.
Don't. I might actually even just dub the actual song over this part of our podcast, and I'm just gonna lip sync it.
You might as well. You might as well do it, Mr. Editor. Come on, Final Cut. You might as well.
I'm gonna do it. But anyway.
But yeah.
Anything else at 33? I'm like, I'm lost here.
Yeah, because your creative mind is going now. I'm about to make this happen. Yeah, I mean, there was just so much here. But this whole like, if I break my covenant with David, or then you might as well remove the sun and the moon. Like, day and night will cease to come, and the heavens won't remain. That was deep.
Yeah,
like that was real deep. I mean, just the fact that like the Lord could even say something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, if I don't do this, then like, but he really could. Like, if he wanted to cease heaven and earth, and the earth and the moon, like, he could, honestly. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think we referred to that Monday a little bit, but that verse really stuck out to me when we read it this week. That like, he's like, my word can be counted on in the same way you can count on the sun rising.
You're right.
Like, that's, like you said, that's heavy and that's deep. Crazy. Like, and he's the only one who can say that. Like,
the only person.
None of us
or being.
My word is not nearly as reliable as the sun rising every day.
You know, my kids already caught mine. They caught mine. They was like, "Mommy, don't be doing what she's saying." I'm gonna make them 5 minutes. Give you guys all pops. I come back and give them hugs. You guys listening to mommy? You're not listening to me. I'm going to go get your daddy. Didn't I send you in there tonight? I sure did. I had enough. I had enough of it. I didn't do nothing. My word means nothing. Jeez, because they already know it's not going down. I'm so weak sauce. I'm so sick of it.
Okay.
Anyways.
Well, we're a team.
I know my feelings are still hurt because they like I just rolled out and closed the door. I didn't even tell them I was gonna go get you. All
right, we're a team. Work it out. Yeah. Anything else here in 33?
Yep, I think that's it.
We got Okay. Well, man, 3 chapters today. So not a whole lot there. But we have one more day of reading, 4 chapters tomorrow.
Yeah.
Finish at chapter 37. But again, hopefully this was helpful to you in your reading this week. We really appreciate you guys joining us today on the Vibes Daily Podcast. Come back and see us tomorrow as we close out this week's worth of reading. Until then, take care.
Thank you for joining us for the Vibes Daily Podcast. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or download our favorite, the Vibes Church app. Visit vibes.church/devoted for additional episodes, notes, details, and the latest merch. Join us next time as we continue our journey through the Bible. Take good care.